Hello, Easton, and welcome to the Rabbi's Roundtable. I'm Rabbi Peter Hyman, Rabbi at Temple B'nai Israel, and instead of coming to you from the studios of MCTV, we are coming to you, indeed, from Temple B'nai Israel, where we are socially distancing, but connected nevertheless. Hope everybody is well in enduring what we have to endure to get through this. It's going to be an interesting program. My first guest, not a stranger to our city or to many of us, not only a skilled musician and an excellent conductor, but Don Buxton is also the executive director of Chesapeake Music. And Don, welcome back to the Rabbi's Roundtable.
Thank you, Peter. It's a delight to be here.
And I was figuring, knowing that there has been such disruption as a result of the COVID virus, I know that my colleagues, Father Nash and Reverend Greg Powell and others, all of our entire schedules, I know certainly at Temple, has been disrupted. I figured that must be the same for you with the Chesapeake Music. And I thought we would just take a few minutes to inform the community of what has been postponed, what has been changed, and to give everybody a chance to not only touch base with you, but hear what's going to happen in the future once this is behind us. Please God.
Yeah. It's amazing to me that I have spent more time on Zoom meetings and pacing back and forth in my little home office here that I think I've worn a rut into the carpeting.
No doubt.
It's amazing how technology has really helped us to stay connected in a different kind of way. Without it, it would be a terrible loss, I think, for everybody. We have had to cancel quite a number of events. We had our competition in April that had to be canceled, followed by concerts on Sunday. We had to cancel our June Chamber Music Festival. And we are potentially looking at canceling our September Jazz Festival over the day. This has been the way things are working for arts organizations, certainly in Maryland, and I would think possibly in the United States. We have been in more than regular, I'd say 2 or 3 times a week, contact with the Maryland State Arts Council, the governor's office, about what are things going to look like once we're actually able to open up. For us, I think the social distancing doesn't work quite as well as it might for an organization that doesn't count on a number of people in one space to make ends meet. I know, as an example, the Avalon Theater with 400 seats would have a hard time making ends meet with only 200 people showing up to a show. So that's been kind of tough for us, trying to wrestle with the concept of, how that might work financially. But the one thing we are doing, which I'm very excited about, is a virtual festival, which our artistic directors actually suggested, and I think is going to be really exciting for our patrons to stay in touch with our artists, and for our artists and Chesapeake Music to stay in touch with our patrons.
Don, that sounds really interesting and exciting. When is the scheduled, and what are the dates? And give us more information about that. That's really cool.
That absolutely. So our first concert, virtual concert, will be on June 4th. And we are going to run 5 programs in our virtual festival, which will be run, a new one, every 48 hours. And this gives people an opportunity to tune in at their convenience and not at ours, because not everybody wants to watch the whole thing all at once. And it was interesting that the Metropolitan Opera actually did a similar thing where they left it up for a time. And so every 48 hours, we will have a new program. And the stage is actually set on our website, and people will be directed to come to our website June 4th, and then every 48 hours up through the 5th concert.
Wow, that's really wonderful. And will this be in the paper? And we'll certainly publicize this.
We are publicizing it in just about every way we can think of. This would be on Facebook. We will be doing some Facebook work on Instagram, locally in the Star Democrat and in the Tidewater Times and Attraction. We will also be sending out e-blasts, which we hope people will share. So we're really trying to make this an ongoing event through those 5 concerts. We also have one really interesting concert that is the young people's concert, and we're going to be working with the schools so that actually is able to be watched by the kids at home.
Oh, that's terrific.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. And these guys are phenomenal. They're the Carnegie Hall String Quartet. They work with kids all the time and do children's programs.
Yes.
And yeah, they'll have a little question and answer session. I just think it's really going to be very cool for kids to be able to watch the program at home as maybe even part of their public school learning process.
Well, I think, listen, anything that can engage our kids. I actually feel very sorry for our students, whether they're in elementary or junior high, high school, or college. I was speaking to my student. I teach a course at Washington College. I was speaking to one of my students. Actually, her sister, and her mother had, thank God everybody's well, but they fought the virus. And she's lost all this school time. They shut down the college.
Right.
And they're hoping that they'll be able to get back in the fall. But this is wonderful and an important way to engage kids. Good for you guys. Thank you for doing that. Wonderful.
Well, thank you. I haven't actually had to do a whole lot with this. I think our artistic directors, who are based in the New York City area, have done a tremendous amount of work. And we are using a great videographer from Skillman, who is the Skillman School, who is going to do some great videography work, putting all of these things together for our kids. We've had a great committee doing a lot of work to raise the funds necessary to make this happen. So it's really been a team effort. It really has.
It's really interesting that you say this. I have friends in the community there's a cousin he's one of my students, but his cousin is an up and coming, getting to be a well-known opera singer. And she did a show last night from her home. She had clips of when she was at La Scala and other places.
Right.
She's very young and very talented, but she's making the rounds in the important places. And it was just so, I felt not only was she a delight to watch, and it was really watching a very skilled and trained musician and artist, but it was such a wonderful diversion from what we've been dealing with. So this is really important.
And I think that it makes for a special connection between artists and audiences, and our artists, because our artists are very much loved in our community. And I know there were so many people, including myself, that were so depressed at having to cancel our chamber music festival, that this is just a way to stay in touch with everybody.
Absolutely. Listen, as I said, I literally feel your pain, given that everything that we've planned, whether it's at Temple specifically, or with Tackle, or interfaith activities, everything has been put on hold and has been suspended. And it really, it's depressing in many ways, because you want to do things and you want the connection. And here we are in a situation and in a circumstance where you just shake your head and go, this doesn't make any sense to me.
And for people like you and me, we're social people, and I'm a real extrovert, and being an extrovert in a confined space is really tough.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
My wife takes the brunt of that when I go out and I explode with all these great ideas, and she's like, "Whoa, cowboy, let's take a little break there."
I totally understand. I miss. There are a lot of things I miss, but I miss our restaurants being open. And, we've been doing takeout a lot, although I like to cook, but that's not the issue. And what I really miss, I said to somebody the other day, my hair's longer now than it was in high school. Although I had more hair then, it's still longer now.
Yeah. Well, it is interesting, whenever Meredith and I go out to eat, she always complains that we never have a meal without somebody coming up and talking to us.
Of course.
Well, I love it when people come up and talk to us.
Yeah.
And I miss that.
Oh, sure. And just the social component, that's been a real adjustment for a lot of people. And as I've said to folk in other circumstances, we haven't missed the service, either a Friday night or a Saturday morning or whatever holiday celebration it may be, but to give a sermon to an absolutely empty sanctuary,
it's tough.
Is it's bizarre. And somebody said, how do you keep your energy up? Well, I keep my energy up by remembering that there are lots of people listening and that they're tuned in and all that sort of thing. But still, it's a challenge.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. I think it'll be a challenge for our artists, too, by the way, who are going to be playing to an unknown entity.
Yes.
For the very same reason that there is
Correct.
something about live music in a hall that creates an energy both from the audience and to the audience. It's like watching a baseball game on TV, not quite the same experience. But we hope with the right kind of interaction from our artists that it's going to make these videos really compelling.
Yeah. And they will be. And they'll just have to remember.
I think so.
They just have to remember that there are going to be lots of people watching them and try to tap into that energy, knowing what a full house audience is like and remembering that kind of reality.
Exactly. Exactly.
And anything else we should be aware of? Anything else coming down the road that you want us to know about?
Well, we do have our jazz festival scheduled for Labor Day weekend. We are still wrestling with what that's going to look like. We don't know if it's going to be a live event or a virtual event or a half of an event. I working from home. People always love the fact that you work from home. I have worked so much harder from home than I ever worked at my office because you are a captive audience. And I spend all of my day pacing, talking on the phone with all of my committee chairs, my board members. I mean, I think we're all really focused on, one, what is it going to look like when we reopen?
Yep.
2, when are we going to reopen? And 3, do we have to do a staged reopening, meaning a soft reopening?
Right.
And what is that going to look like? I don't think that we've made any decisions about this because everything seems to change daily. So there's no hard and fast rule on what's going to happen. I think that our most important consideration is keeping everybody safe.
Certainly.
We
That's
don't
the
want
number one priority.
Absolutely, it is. We need to keep our people safe, our patrons safe, and our musicians safe. And we don't want to rush anything into anything that is going to be a potential for harm.
course, and that's everybody's number one obligation. And imagine, as a matter of fact, that becomes not just a public reality, but there's a religious component to that. It is a religious obligation, irrespective of what religion it is. All religions teach that the maintaining of safety and the maintaining of good health and viability is of ultimate importance. So,
I agree completely.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to finding out what the Jazz Festival will be like. Hopefully, I will probably be here for the first time in many years for the Jazz Festival, because where I usually go, they've closed it.
Well, if we have a live festival, give me a call. I know the boss really well, and I might be able to even give you a ticket.
Oh, geez, I'll remember that. Thank you very much. Anything else, Don, that we need to tell and share with the community?
I think that's it, Peter, and thank you so much for giving me a platform to talk with people.
All the time, anytime. It's always a pleasure to have you on the Roundtable. And like I said, once we can get back and literally be shoulder to shoulder and face to face, we will reconvene in the studios of MCTV and not on our cell phones with Nick doing the production from his house as opposed to the control room. We've been talking to Don Buxton. Don, as you know, is the executive director of Chesapeake Music. And Don, thank you for the time you took to be with us and share with the community what's going down and very exciting things. And Easton, we will be back shortly.
Did you know? MCTV programming is available online. Find our shows like Rabbi's Roundtable, Carlisle's Chesapeake, The Shameless Picture Show, Conversations with Sherry, and the Avalon Theater Presents at youtube.com/Midshore Community Television.
And we are back, and welcome again to the Rabbi's Roundtable. I'm Rabbi Peter Hyman, and we are not in the studios of MCTV, but we are on our iPhones doing this remotely. And as we said in the last segment, thank God for technology. Just before we end this session of the Rabbi's Roundtable, just a thought or two. We have been dealing with what is really a strange, unfamiliar, and demanding circumstance. Everybody has. It's touched all of us. But I do believe, and I both from a faith perspective as well as from a personal perspective, what I've seen since this has started is really remarkable. I find people being kinder to each other, more appreciative of each other, more connected, whether you're relatives or strangers. And behind the masks, you can see in people's eyes a desire to reach out. That will sustain us. If there is any message in this for us in the 21st century, it is a message that reminds us of three things. First, we are connected. Second, our humanity transcends that which is abnormal to our humanity. And third, and I really believe this too shall pass. Please stay healthy, stay well, be careful, wear your masks when you go outside. It is important. And I look forward to seeing you, especially Nick, at the next Rabbi's Roundtable, God willing, from the studios of MCTV. Be well, everybody. Thanks for watching.